Hey, we got the Tsunami Mega Arcade game actually functional. My friend was working on it, and we found that because we didn't have the original Tsunami Mega Arcade setup disk, which installs Windows 98 plus the Tsunami menu system, we found online the game Revolt, which is another game that Tsunami modified or had modified to work in arcade cabinets. And the setup disk that was online was pretty much the same as the Tsunami Mega Arcade setup disk. It allowed my friend to reinstall the operating system, the menus. He was able to copy the three games, Crimson Skies, Air Raid, and Mech Warrior 4, from the bad hard drive image that we had, which was causing our original problems, onto the new image, and everything was working except the controls. So, thought about it for a while. I had it on the shelf. I finally brought it back up to him, and we were both kind of looking at it and working on it, and determined that it's probably got something to do with the HAPP controller that takes the signals from the controls and converts them to USB that goes into the computer. So what we ended up doing is my friend was looking around at registry entries and trying to figure out what might be going on, and found a registry entry for UCGI, which is the HAPP converter, is a UCGI board. And basically he took like the letter T off of the DLL. I'll try and remember to put it in the comments, but just taking the letter T off of the DLL made everything functional. So it is now fully functional. Found that the potentiometer for the throttle was not working at all. It looked like it had been opened before, and it was just toast. And also the left right on the joystick not working very well. You can kind of see it there. Don't mind the two or three vertical bars on the monitor. That's a problem with this spare monitor that I use for testing. But if you look at the crosshair, you'll see the up and down stays nice and steady, but the left and right is just kind of moving all over. The throttle was doing the same thing. I just replaced that pot with the replacement I bought, and this potentiometer seems to be working fine. It holds steady. It goes all the way up and down. I think the other one was like stuck on full only. You can push buttons on the joystick here, and they all register. The coin test and volume buttons register. This is a control panel that I was testing for my arcade machine to see if I wanted an 8-button layout. Decided I didn't. So this was just a spare panel in my garage. I decided, well, let me throw the controls on here. And then underneath, there's the test and volume buttons on that panel. There's the HAPP UCGI that converts the joysticks and buttons to USB that goes to the computer. And then there's all the big mess of cables and the throttle over here. That is the potentiometer that I just replaced. I haven't put the shrink wrap on it yet because I want to make sure that it was working properly before I did that. So this is just a test rig that I was using to try and play the game and make sure everything works. So now that I know that the potentiometers I bought are working fine, now I can look into swapping the left-right, or I guess that would be the vertical axis I guess you would say, to get the joystick working a little bit better. And yeah, we already did play the game. So we know that the game works. Well, we played MechWarrior and let's see, Little Crimson Skies. Right now I do not have a speaker set up. All you need to do is get just a cheap 2-speaker setup and plug it into the sound card and you'll get sound. I still have the original amplifier that came with this in the arcade cabinet, but it's basically just takes 12-volt input from the PC to power the amplifier, and a mini stereo cable connects it to the sound card on the PC, and then it's got 4 wires going out, 2 for the left speaker and 2 for a right speaker. So it's basically just like a cheap PC 2-speaker system that's been taken apart and pull the sound amp out, which is something that the people who make MAME cabs have been doing for years as a cheap way to get an amplifier for their audio. So I don't have my tripod out here right now, so I can't really show much gameplay because I have to hold the phone with one hand. But you can see here are the 3 games that are installed. It's kind of touchy in the menu system. When you go up and down, it kind of wants to bounce around a bit. So select your game. I've got it on free play, which is kind of like the old Gauntlet games, where it's not quite as much fun when you've got infinite free play. So in one of the extra holes on my control panel, I'm going to put a button, wire it up to the coin input, and then take it off for free play. So you can just hit a button on this control panel to start a game, and it'll go for the timed limit of 1 quarter. So here you can see MechWarrior. You can choose some different areas to fight your mech in, and it's got shows you what the controls do while it loads up the game. And there we go. And you can see I am moving around, I'm shooting. Again, I don't have the throttle. Throttle is centered. And I'm holding my phone, but there you go. MechWarrior is working. Move the throttle forward, press the button on the throttle, and you actually fly. Reverse on the throttle, you go backwards. So yeah, it's up and fully working now, which is just awesome. So we played this game a bit, and it's actually quite fun, but again, on infinite credits, it's not quite the same as if you were playing it at the arcade. And I'm very bad playing with one hand and the throttle locked on full forward. Run over him. So yeah, there you go. Got it working. It's awesome. Big thanks to my friend who helped me out. Thank you, Jason. And yeah, I'll be working on getting the other potentiometer replaced, and we'll actually be able to play the game. So there we go. Small update, but a good update. We've got the thing working.